Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to FEO 2021 Virtual Summit and our Wednesday session. So I'm Louise Jackson, and of course, a bit of housekeeping that we always make sure we do is if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will make sure to answer. But before we move on to our amazing guest, Kyle of Incirque, we are going to we asked festivals and events organizers to nominate a volunteer who gave their time to help their community, even during a pandemic. And here are the winners of the FEO Volunteer Awards. Congratulations to all the award winners. Oh, I miss the energy of the awards banquet. Now you're making me even sadder, but congratulations. Those volunteers, as we know, are the backbone to any event. So it's nice to see those smiling faces, and thank you for all you do for the festival and events community. We truly need you. So before I introduce our guests, which we're just waiting in anticipation to see Kyle, we would not be able to do this 2021 summit, of course, without our support from our sponsors and our partners, who we all know sponsors and partners are what make the festival and event world go round. So thank you to Ticket Pro, SmartServe, Event Hub, Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture, OLG, and Destination Ontario. Thank you. We're gonna do a round of applause, yay. All right, so today our guest is Kyle Sipkens of Incirque. Hello, Kyle. Kyle is here and juggling mental health, which I don't think there could be a better topic for any of us during this pandemic. So Kyle is from the Lucky Barber show, and life can feel like a balancing act. As I know, I have kids at home as well. Working through a pandemic, getting to the grocery store while the lines are short, keeping a tidy home. We'll never seem to leave anymore. Keeping a tidy home when you don't leave is actually a lot harder than most of us would think. So there's a lot of balls to keep in the air. But what about our mental health? How do we juggle that every day? From tasks and to facing increasing anxiety. Since the start of COVID-19, juggling our own mental health every day can feel like it's all we have the energy for. So who knows about juggling challenges like somebody who stands on boots of nails and juggles oversized knives? Kyle is a professional street performer, a vocal mental health advocate who lives with anxiety, depression, and panic disorder. Through learning how to take control of his own mental health and creating the newest juggling comedy show, Kyle discovered how juggling was helping him through anxiety and depression in his daily life. This led Kyle to produce the free to access online #juggling mental health video series that teaches juggling basics and insights on mental health practices for life during lockdown. Now learn juggling with Kyle in one virtual show highlighting these lessons filled with sharp juggling skills to give you an edge on your mental health. So welcome, Kyle. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Louise. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I gave you such a long intro. But I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad everyone else is here. Thank you so much for joining us. How is everybody doing? Good? maybe you started learning something new since the pandemic started. You know, I know some people started learning to make sourdough. Anybody? Yeah, a few people. See, one thing I learned is toilet paper is an investment. You pay for it up front or you pay for it in the end. That's now, if you haven't already, go ahead, turn on your cameras so we can see you. We can see everybody. It's okay, we can stay connected. I know it's a little scary since we've all been back in lockdown. Tina, I see you there. I know, if this was class picture day, let's just say that, you know, for some of us, this might not be a refrigerator year. Self haircuts are a scary, scary thing. That's okay. But I also wanted to let you know some of the topics that we're going to talk about today, for some people, may be difficult. We're going to be talking about how my personal experiences with anxiety and depression and panic disorder and suicidal ideation. So we'll try to put some links in the chat, maybe at the end, just so that you folks have somewhere to go. Just remember, you don't have to sit alone in your feelings. There are places that you can reach out to, and we'll do that. We'll do that later on. Just remember, you're not alone. Now, the talk today is not the Lucky Barber show. So why are we talking about mental health instead? Well, according to the latest survey, 76% of people are experiencing worsening mental health, including stress, anxiety, and depression. Typically, that's 1 in 5. So that's a huge increase. If you think Ontario alone, that's over 11 million people. So what does a juggler know about mental health? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about my journey to take control of my mental health, along with some lessons juggling taught me. And we will be juggling together at the end of the talk. So if you have 3 tennis balls or hacky sacks or balled up socks, have those standing by so that we have something to juggle together at the end. If you haven't done any laundry in a while and you're using balled up socks, maybe give yourself lots of space from anyone else in the room. Debbie, I see you laughing. Now, I also want to let you know, I do have a lot of sharp objects here at the end of the show. I'm going to be standing on top of these boots of nails. And while I do, I'm going to be juggling these razor sharp knives inches from my face. And now, oh, Tina, you're excited to see that. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, I bet these aren't really sharp. No, everything you see here is real metal. It is really sharp. Now, this show is interactive. So anytime I say real, I want you to say metal. Let's try that out. Real. When I say metal. Really, you say sharp. Really? Sharp.
Sharp.
Nice. Okay, now I see some of you joining in and some of you are like, whatever, it's a Zoom. He's not going to hear me anyways. I'm just going to mime it. No. I saw you people coming. When I say real, you can say metal. That's the ASL symbol for metal. Can we try that? Real.
Metal.
Very nice. Now, when I say really, you say sharp. This is going to be sharp, just like that. Just like what I do with my knives. Really.
Sharp.
Really.
Sharp.
Very nice. I see someone else even has their mic on too. That's great. Now, let's try that all together. When I say real, you say metal. Real.
Metal.
When I say really, you say sharp. Really.
Sharp. Sharp.
Very nice. Okay, so we're going to get to that at the end. But to start, I want everyone, wherever you are, just have your feet easily underneath you and just keep your head long atop your spine. And we're just going to let your breathing drop. Just nice deep breath in and out. And in. And on your next exhalation, just let your eyes close and out. And another deep breath in. And just let it roll along your spine like it's a wave gently crashing on a shore and out. We'll do a few more of those. And in and out. And one more in and out. And now when you're ready, let your eyes easily open
And now we're gonna take our right arm and we're just gonna shake, 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 shake it out. And now our left arm, shake, 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 shake it out. All right, now we're gonna put both arms over our head, and at a 90 degrees, we're gonna shake, 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 shake it out. And if you're wondering, this is also how you do silent applause in ASL. So if you wanna cheer, you don't have to clap, especially if you're in an office. There you go, you got silent applause ready. Nice, very nice. All right, now, I have been a professional street performer for 16 years. When I started creating my show, I started the process of taking control of my mental health at the same time. Now, a few years ago, I woke up in bed one morning and I just didn't want to be alive anymore. I just closed my eyes and I hoped I would just drift away and not wake up again. Each time I woke up, I didn't even open my eyes. I just became aware I was awake and my eyes filled with tears, and I would think, damn, I woke up. And every time I would just close my eyes and just hope I would drift away. I didn't eat. I didn't go to the bathroom. I stayed in my bed for 3 days. I didn't want to be alive anymore. I didn't know how. After 3 days in bed, I woke up and I finally walked to CAMH. I live with anxiety, depression, and panic disorder. And if you think that's a scary thing to say out loud, imagine doing it to a group of people who usually hire you. Now, what I also learned was that each time I was juggling, I was actually helping myself to cope with my mental health, and discovered how my show and my journey to understand my mental health were actually informing each other. Now, in juggling, we manipulate time and space. We move objects and what our mind recognizes at patterns. Usually, first, we start learning the 3-ball cascade. Now, I've learned that I can't focus on every moving part while I juggle. That would be impossible. You don't have enough time to look back at the next object. But in every pattern, I know where to bring my focus so that I can predict where each ball will land. Now, after I visited CAMH, I was put on a very long wait list for CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. There was no way to know when my spot would come up. And at the time, I didn't really know how to live through the day. So on the advice of some of my very close friends, I booked a 3-week backpacking trip in Asia. And while I was there, I decided I'd challenge myself and learn how to scuba dive. It seemed like a really good idea at the time. But I was having a lot of trouble with the drills. There was one in particular that's a mask clearing exercise. I don't know if you've ever done this. Yeah, it's where you have to let your mask fill with water and then you breathe out your nose to clear it. That means that you have to breathe air in through your regulator while your nose is filled with water. Now, to me, that felt like I was drowning. So I would burst up to the surface every time, and I was convinced I was not going to pass the course. My diving instructor was awesome. She was like, you know what? We're just gonna leave this drill for now. Let's just go on a fun dive. So we went down and we started swimming out. After some time, she could see how stiff I was. So she actually just shook herself out and then pointed at me. So I did, and I relaxed. Then she made the symbol for breathe in, and I breathed in more deeply, and I started to relax. Then she pointed around, and I looked around, and I was actually surrounded by the most beautiful coral reef with crystal clear waters overhead. Then she tapped on her diving watch, and I looked at mine, and I realized we went to a depth I had never been to before. I was so frozen with anxiety that I couldn't see inches from my goggles. As soon as I relaxed, my vision went from goggle vision to IMAX 4D Ultra. Now, this is also called freeze mode. When I feel anxious, my vision narrows. I become focused on either the future or the past. My breathing becomes shallow and tight, and I can feel pressure on the sides of my head. That's why I keep juggling balls on the table where I work. Ah, I see yours, Louise. Yep, very nice. Now, anytime I start to feel stuck, I remind myself to start juggling. Juggling is an intervention tool. It helps me focus on what is happening now because it's activating my mind. I bring my focus back to now and out of freeze mode. Now, a study done with jugglers blocked either their hands or the top of the arch. They wanted to know what jugglers need to see in order to predict where the ball is going to land. What they saw was jugglers actually need to see the top of the arch, not their hands. This is called the mind's predictive ability. When you see the top of the arch, your hand actually knows where the ball is going to land, which is perfect because when you're juggling, you don't have enough time to watch each object. Now, I can do some pretty fantastic things in my life, like standing on 6-inch nails and juggling very large knives. Ironically, it's the day-to-day tasks that can get really difficult. Simple things like leaving my apartment or going to the grocery store or doing laundry. I really hate laundry. Now, it can really start to add up. And it's usually not one thing, it's a combination of things, like this box here. We'll call this one anxiety. And this one here, we'll call this one low mood. Now, can anyone else give me any suggestions? Anything that usually pops up for you? You can just go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll call it out. Just anything else that blocks you in the day-to-day. Anything? Let's see. Worry. Worry, that's a great one. All right, here we go. Okay, can you give me another one?
Fear.
Fear. Oh, okay, another one.
Guilt.
Guilt, there you go. Oh, guilt, that's a big one for me. All right, anybody? That's
Shame.
oh, shame, yes. Wow. Guilt's ugly cousin. All right, anybody else?
Self-doubt.
Self-doubt, absolutely. Oh, okay, another one?
Decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue, yeah. All right, here we go. Oh, okay, and I got one more. Anybody?
Lots of focus.
Loss of focus. Hopefully that's not the case today. All right. Oh my gosh, all right, there we go. Now, when we put all of the bricks together, what does it start to look like? A wall, right? And typically a wall can be something that's pretty hard to get through. So how do we get through a wall when we encounter it? Well, we don't. Not exactly. What we do is we try to find an intervention tool, something that gives us just a little bit of space. Then with that space, it might allow us to suddenly see each brick individually and maybe tackle each one by one and maybe see that the circumstances around it are neither good nor bad. They just happen to be the circumstances. And maybe in time, we can start to find our balance again. So, how do we shift our perspective and create this space? Juggling is just one intervention tool to increase our resilience and rebound more effectively. The most important thing is to find interventions that work for you, like tools in the toolbox that are there when you need them.
Did you know you don't have to succeed in juggling for it to positively benefit your brain? In addition to promoting mindfulness, an Oxford study concluded that practicing juggling helps you grow both gray and white matter in your brain. Scientists saw that the white matter, which helps with our awareness of surroundings and how we move through it, grew substantially after practicing for only 6 weeks. Gray matter, responsible for our visual motion functions, senses, and memory, expanded after only 7 days. So remember, it's not how well you do at juggling that is beneficial for your health. What matters is that you keep practicing.
All right, it's time to play everybody's favorite game, Spin the Thought, where we take your regular, ordinary thoughts and spin them out of control on the wheel of cognitive distortion. All right, let's see who we've got up for contestant number 1. All the way from Toronto, Ontario. Not very far. I couldn't get anything done at work today. I'm worried I may get fired. Ooh, that's a good one. What are we going to do with it, folks? Spin the thought. Round and round it goes. And what do we have? Ooh, mental filtering. All right, let's spin that wheel back and see what's the thought at the base of it. How about I was able to complete some tasks today, even if I didn't finish every task on my list? Practice some radical acceptance. All right, let's go on to contestant number 2. From Little Creek, British Columbia, we have, I should really do laundry. Thanks for joining. All right, let's spin that wheel. Round and round it goes. We have should statements. Ooh, that's a tricky one. Let's spin that wheel back. How about it would be helpful to have laundry for the week ahead? Remember, if you don't have the headspace or energy to do it today, you may be able to do it tomorrow. Or drink some water. See if you feel more prepared to do this after. All right, let's go on to our lightning round. Okay, this contestant coming to us from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Weird. Thunder, lightning. What are the odds? All right, so our contestant is taking an online baking class and their bread didn't rise. And the thought is, I'm such a loser. Oh, what are we gonna do with it, folks? Spin the thought. Here we go, round and round it goes. Let's see. Which one's it gonna be? Which one's it gonna be? Global labeling. Ooh. Our contestant jumped to a generalization because their bread didn't rise and assumed they must be a loser. In reality, this is a new skill. That's why they're taking the class. Remember, everyone learns at a different pace. Thanks for playing, and remember, until next time, where there's thunder, there may be lightning. We'll see you next week, folks. Okay. Obviously, it doesn't exactly happen that way in real life. Typically, we have a thought and our mind spins to distort it. This gets amplified by the feelings around it. So when we notice we're having a thought that gets us stuck, we can explore the possibility that there may be a cognitive distortion at play, or maybe more than one. Sounds easy in theory, but not always easy to recognize as it's happening. They can feel very real and believable, especially when it feels true. Our emotional reasoning leads us to believe it must be true. But remember, our mental health is like juggling. It's a practice, not a destination.
Do you know how we learn? When we learn a new skill, it builds a new pathway in our brain. We strengthen it through practice. This is called neuroplasticity. At first, it builds a backroad between point A and B. The more we practice, the pathway strengthens and becomes like a paved road, eventually becoming a super highway. The brain sending information to our muscles and responding so fast, we don't even have to think about it. Think of tying your shoe. At first, you struggle and have to visualize each step. After years of doing it, you may not even have to think about it. The same happens for changing our mental patterns. At first, we may have to be extremely mindful about putting a mental health skill into practice. Eventually, it can start to feel almost like habit.
All right, so once we've learned a pattern, how do we transition into it? Now, there can be a lot of anticipation and frustration, not just to learn the new pattern, but then be able to seamlessly flow into it from one to another. A basic example is our 3-ball cascade to a reverse cascade. So what's the key to breaking the pattern that you're in? First, giving yourself time. This allows space to see outside of the pattern that you're in and not get stuck in anticipation. This can work for getting into a reverse cascade or other patterns by giving yourself time with a nice, high throw. 2, practice the new pattern first. Get a feel for what it's like in your body so you can transition into it more easily because you already know the rhythm of it. It's built into your muscle memory. Now, number 3, understanding what intervention tool you need. What's keeping you stuck in your current pattern? This can be for more than juggling. It can also apply to your headspace. If you feel stuck in a pattern or a thought spiral, it can be hard to imagine feeling any feeling outside of it, especially when there's strong feelings. If we can intervene and give ourselves space from our current pattern, the thoughts or feelings we're experiencing, we have a chance to lessen the intensity. Most things do with time. Some interventions, if you're feeling an increase in anxiety, maybe first, leaving the situation you're in if you can. Take slow, deep breaths. Drink some water, or find a calm space away to relax from stimulation. Find what's helpful for you.
Did you know play can affect how we learn? Just like animals learn valuable skills like hunting through play, humans learn important problem-solving skills when we play. So much that Dr. Stuart Brown has spent a lot of time studying it and even wrote a book on it. Play can even impact how effectively we learn. By learning through games, we are more engaged, remove prejudging our contributions, and can even remove shame or worry about failure. Rather, we can accept failure as part of the game, or even how we participate better. How can we apply this to juggling? By having a playful approach. We can remind ourselves, it's just a game. Even stop frustration before it starts, since we can always play again.
Now, there's some days I have trouble getting anything started. Everything feels too big. Even practicing juggling can feel daunting, especially when I'm learning something new. So I ask myself, is there one small thing I can do? Like take a shower or brush my teeth. Then when I've done this one thing, maybe this momentum can bring me to another and another. And if not, then at least I've still done this one thing. This is why we start to learn juggling balls before juggling things like clubs, since we have to be mindful of an object's rotation within the pattern. But to learn clubs, we learn first by breaking down these skills. This is the same thing we do when we learn to juggle 4 balls. First, we learn to juggle 2 balls in one hand. After we've done that, we learn it in the other hand. And then we simply put it together. Hup, hup, hup. And then you have 4-ball juggling. When we break it down, the process can feel much more manageable. Now, a key moment when we were doing the juggling mental health videos was when my partner Jake asked why we cut on a tape. And I said, because I dropped a ball and I wanted to start over. And he asked me why I was hiding my failure. He said, the most annoying thing is watching these YouTube videos and everything looks so effortless. And it makes you think that when you try it and you don't learn it as easily, that maybe it's not for you. He said it might actually be easier to learn from someone who you can see struggles with it too. And here we are making videos about juggling and mental health in a pandemic. Time to listen to Jake and be vulnerable. I need to show my mistakes. I can't anticipate every possible thing that can happen moment to moment. And I realize the irony of that in a group of people who have emergency preparedness plans. You should still have those, by the way. But strength isn't holding everything together so that nothing can ever go wrong. Or like Brene Brown says, there's no courage without vulnerability. Resiliency is having the tools to recover when things do go wrong. And human beings have an amazing capacity for resiliency. You are not your failure. Brene Brown talks about how if you dare greatly, it's not that you may fail, you will fail. Living with trauma-informed behavior, you tend to internalize this failure. I dropped a ball, so I must be a bad juggler. I feel bad, therefore I am bad. I feel frustrated or silly, so this must not be for me. You are not a bad juggler if you drop a ball. Now, it can feel very true if our emotional reasoning is telling us it is true. As a street performer, one of the reasons you have to do your show so many times is because it's not that things can go wrong, they will. And I may be giving away a trade secret, but jugglers plan drop lines. We build resiliency into our show. There's a rule in street theater called the 100 shitty shows rule. It's that your first 100 shows are going to suck hard, no matter how experienced you are. And after those first 100 shows, your next 100 shows are going to be pretty bad too, but you have a start. When I first started performing the Lucky Barber show, I had a giant curly mustache and a charming southern drawl. But the more I started to do my show, I started to pull back on the accent. And eventually I lost the giant mustache. And I actually found that more people started to come to watch my show. And my show got tighter and tighter. It turns out what the show needed was more me. My vulnerability was making people want to sit and watch. My 4-year-old niece drew a picture last week, and I asked her what she called it. And she said, "My happy book of mistakes." And I said, "Why did you call it that?" And she said, "Because anytime I make a mistake, I learn something new." And I think that is awesome. Now, hardly anyone gets anything right the first try. That's why I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get things right. My niece is an only child. Now, growing up as a man, a lot of us aren't given a roadmap to process our feelings, or space to be vulnerable, or share our struggles. We're taught to man up, walk it off, tough it out. When I started my show, I'm not sure what gave me the image of a barber first, but I had the image of an old vintage barber shop. And for a lot of men, their barber is the only person they can talk to. When I started doing those shows, I also learned of a group in the UK called the Lions Barber Collective. It's a group that teaches barbers suicide prevention. They teach barbers this because they are the front line of defense. A barber doesn't just help you look your best, they help you feel your best. They teach you self-care by showing you care. And they listen. Now, there's admittedly risk in talking to you today about my mental health, especially with people who hire me. There's a risk you could think that I'm not able to do my job. But I have faith in you. And I have faith in me. Because my brain is hardwired to try harder, to do more, to make sure I come above expectation. I'm diagnosed to want to overachieve. Also, disability does not mean inability. My work typically gives me purpose and is where I feel most connected, most normal. I do face extra hurdles in regular day-to-day things, and I still do them most of the time, eventually. Also, neurodivergence is just different. We all have unique neural pathways. My brain has built these pathways based on the need for survival. It adapted because it had to, and that has value. For 16 years, I thought I was building a performance language in my career. What I was actually doing was refining my emotional intelligence. Empathy is my superpower. And if you wonder why this might be valuable, I hear nuance in people's voice. I can naturally read body language. Or if I'm a 10-foot tall clown on stilts and I go around the corner and I see a 2-year-old who's just able to walk on their own for the first time, look up and see a 10-foot tall clown, and I think to myself, crap, I'm going to be this kid's first memory. And I do not want to be responsible for any more clown phobias. This is also why I set my stilts at the height that I do, so a child can walk up in their own time and reach up and touch my hand to see I'm just a real person. Also, who doesn't want a high five from a 10-foot tall clown? Now, are you ready to see the finale? I know you've been waiting for it. Now, if you're ready to hear the finale, let's see those applause. All right, here we go. So, whoa, I'm going to need these. All right, now let's see if you remember. Everything you see here is real. Ah, there we go. Some of you were sleeping. There we go. All right, real metal. It is really sharp. Oh yeah. All right, here we go. So in just a second, I'm gonna get on top of these nails here, and then afterwards, we're gonna do some juggling. All right, but it wouldn't be fair if I did it with shoes on. That wouldn't be fair to anybody. So I just gotta take these off here. Oh, that is right. Oh, okay, here we go. And I gotta take this one off too. Yeah. All right. And I can't do it with my socks on either. That wouldn't be fair to anybody. Just, all right, here we go. Oh, all right. One more. Yeah. Woo. Saw a little sweat spray off that one. All right, here we go. Now, I'm gonna need a little bit of encouragement from everyone in there. I need everyone to count up to 3 as you, oh, that's cold. All right, it is February still. All right, so everyone counting up to 3 and 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, here we go. We're gonna juggle the knives and then we're gonna juggle. All right, everyone clapping together because I cannot keep rhythm to save my life. And clap, 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 clap. Here we go. Up. Oh, yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Woo! Oh my gosh. And if you think that's not really dangerous, I am this close to my 55-inch TV. That is real danger. All right, now, we've done the fun stuff. Who's ready to juggle? Yeah, all right, you got your juggling balls there? All right, so once again, if you haven't turned on your webcam yet, go ahead, do that. All right, so here we go. We're gonna start out with one ball. So take that in your strongest hand, the one that you generally write with. All right, Now hold out your hands like you're saying, "Where's my pizza?" Maybe you've been waiting for Uber Eats for a while. All right, now imagine there's a net going from the tip of your nose forward. And we're just gonna throw that from one hand to the other, just like that. Back and forth, like it's a tennis match. All right, oh, I saw that, Debbie, 15 love. There we go. All right, so that's step one. Now we're gonna step it up to step two. We're gonna take our second ball, and when that first ball reaches the top of its apex, we're gonna throw the other one underneath. It's gonna look like this. 1, 2. 1, 2. Can you guys give that a try? Or you folks, sorry? Yep. All right. Oh my gosh, that's okay. I know, I can see that. Oh my gosh, hands, that's okay. Once again, everybody drops, it's okay. There you go. All right, yep, standing up's a little bit easier. Let's just go 1, 2. 1, 2. Now you don't have to throw them in the same pathway. And once again, the higher you throw it, the more time you give yourself. You're giving yourself time. 1, 2. 1, 2. Very nice. All right. Who's ready to step it up to stage 3? Ah, very nice. All right, everybody. We're going to step it up to stage 3. Here we go. So we're going to start out with 2 balls in your most dominant hand. And remember the 1, 2. 1, 2. You can see there's actually a hole developing in the pattern here. I have time, just like that. So all you need to do is 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Go ahead, give it a try. Now, if you're having trouble getting it up in the air first, that's okay. You can also just try throwing first to give yourself the time. Just get the rhythm in it. So 1, 2, 3, and let them drop. You try that one more time. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. All right. Now try to catch it if you can. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And again, if you give yourself more time by giving yourself more height. Now, not everything might land today. It might take a little bit of time. Practicing like 5 to 10 minutes a day regularly will actually go more effectively than spending 2 hours all at once. The most important thing is to keep practicing regularly. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you keep practicing. If anyone has any questions, or Louise, if there's anything you need to say, I'm more than happy to stick around, and we can keep practicing too.
Well, thank you so much, Kyle. Honestly, that's awesome. And as all the comments are saying, thank you for being so open and honest. And I think one of the hardest things is being open and honest, to let people know that we're struggling, especially because we have so much pride as humans. So it was really, really great. And I've had these juggling balls probably since I was about 16. So yeah, I have a book, How to Juggle. So now my kids watched you, by the way, and you just made their day. And they thought I was really good. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get a video and send it to you. And my mind needs it. So
please do. And if you go to my website, incirque.com, there's actually a tab up top that says #JugglingMentalHealth. You can see all the videos there. So we've done a bunch of free to use. They got different patterns. It introduces clubs. And every video introduces a different mindfulness technique as well.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to take advantage of that because I do need it. We're going to open up some questions here. One question I had for you is, you mentioned that, you didn't want to get out of bed, and you were, sad that you woke up, but then you made your trip to CAMH. What inspired that? Like, how did you get to go to CAMH? Like, how did you get to that point of actually going for help and realizing that point?
After being in bed for 3 days and feeling everything that I felt, that was when I realized I couldn't do this on my own. That was when I knew I needed help. So I walked to CAMH, and I didn't know what help that was going to be. I was honestly ready for them to be like, okay, we're just gonna have you stay here for, a couple of days and see how you feel. But what ended up happening was they said that they have a new urgent care clinic. And that was when they did an evaluation and said, you know, we're going to put you on this wait list for CBT, and that's where you're at. Now, what the problem with that was, everyone that I was in the room with, once it finally did come around, had been on a wait list for 6 months to a year. So this is help that's urgently needed for people, especially when you don't know how you're going to make it to your next day. A great thing is now I see that the Ontario government has put some online virtual CBT resources, which is absolutely great. And we've tried to throw some resources there. A PDF, Jake quickly put that in the chat. Thank you so much, Jake. So it's really knowing that you need help. And honestly, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, because mental health needs to be treated like health. It is actually a biological process in your mind, and it affects your health, not just how you feel, but how you live and how your body works.
And do you think that there's now a better understanding of mental health because of the pandemic for people who maybe never thought it existed? Do you think that they've realized it more now?
You know what? It would be speculating, but I think the fact that 76% of people now would classify that they're experiencing worsening mental health, when usually that would be 1 in 5, there may be a lot more people out there who realize how strong those feelings are and how much it impacts your day-to-day. So it may actually be that there's a lot more empathy and a lot more understanding for mental health and why these resources are needed.
And I think that's such a great point. And as we all just said at the beginning, how we miss festivals and we miss each other, you know, that connection. One of the things I loved that you said is there's no courage without vulnerability. And we're all afraid to show our vulnerability. So what are some examples for us as people in the events world or festival world, or are ways that you think we can show it and be okay with it? Because we all have big egos and big pride for ourselves. What would some tips on that be for us?
Well, I mean, in this industry, we're all used to doing some big things and under incredible circumstances. A performer's job is to do that while being vulnerable. It's what lets you live through us. It's part of our job. So really for yourself, a thing that you can do to be vulnerable is reach out to someone when you feel like you need someone to talk to. Ask for help. If you don't know what to say and think, oh, I don't want to bother anyone, just send a text or a message or a phone call and just say, hi, I just wanted to check in and see how you are. It could be that easy. It could also be, no, you know, I honestly, I think it can be that easy, is just to reach out and connect. And I know that we're used to connecting as festival suppliers and entertainers and as festival organizers. We literally make people connect. And for myself as a performer, this is really how I connect with people the best. I honestly, I live for those connections. I love them. It's where I feel at my best. So I can appreciate that everyone in this chat and everyone in the FEO world may be feeling that same thing as strongly. It's not just what we do, it's a big part of who we are.
Thank you. And your bravery and sharing this with us, I think, has inspired us all that it's okay to share that. So we have a thank you so much for sharing from Andrea. She's going to practice juggling on a regular basis. So maybe Andrea and I will now have a showdown at the FEO conference next year.
Well, last year we were doing some juggling lessons in my booth. So maybe next year we'll all get together and we'll have a juggling jam. It'll be FEO conference meets jugglers conference.
Andrea's in. We're going to start practicing. A question here from Debbie, who I have to say, Debbie's probably one of the most animated smilers and laughers on Zoom meetings with no mute button. So thank you, Debbie, for that. How are you handling isolation during 2020, 21, 22, whatever it is with a question mark? How are you?
2020-ish. It's all just kind of all run together.
It's Thursday.
Honestly, it's difficult. At first, I tried to really cling to the news and find what I could do to be helpful and to share news and to share hope and reach out to people. Um, Eventually, I hit a point where I just ran out of gas, and all I felt was grief. I watched my entire year slip away, my entire livelihood, and something that helps me feel so connected to the world. I love what I do with all of my heart. So that was where an idea was doing these juggling mental health videos. So I actually wrote a grant for this idea, and the grant money didn't come through, but I knew how urgently it was needed, that mental health resources are needed now. So I figured we'd do it now and figure out things along the way. The physical distancing officer was another idea, where it's actually I know that won a FEO Service Excellence Award this year, and it's a clown character on stilts that actually goes around and helps people safely reconnect through clowning. It has like the fun stop and go sign, literally a game of red light, green light that breaks the ice, because people do fear each other right now. They're getting so much messaging saying, stay away from each other, keep your separate bubbles. So the physical distancing officer helped bubbles safely float past each other. But the day-to-day, honestly, some days are hard. So some days it's hard to get out of bed, or right now with the year ahead, there's so much hope. And any news that seems like things might be difficult again this year, it's hard. But having people that you can connect with, connecting with family virtually, Zoom chats. I'm very lucky that I have my partner, Jake, who is absolutely incredible. Just really clinging on to those connections and remembering that we will be together again helps me a lot.
That's awesome. And it's great to have people in your corner. And we have a comment here from Jay saying the most important thing we can remember is that we don't have to do anything alone, and that if we do need help, you have to ask for it. And you really showed us that today, and I feel a connection with it. I know any Zoom meeting you're on, I'm always happy to see you, and you always have a great attitude about you, and you're supportive of others in the community. So what you did today, how can we maybe book you or get you in for some talks and things like that? Because I think people really need to hear your message along with the fun side. And I have to say, I love the music intro to your videos. I don't know, they just got me feeling really happy. So how can we get you to do this for us?
And I saw your dance party. I'm so glad that you were dancing along with me. I loved it. And yeah, so you can actually go to Incirque.com. You can go to luckybarbershow.com to find all the information on how to get in touch. You can also follow on social media, either at Incirque or at Lucky Barber Show, and you can find everything there. The videos, like I said, are also up on Incirque.com as well. And there's lots of stuff there. And I think the virtual booths are going to be up for a little bit. Like maybe not the interactive part, but I think the sessions are there, so you can always check those out as well, and all the other amazing FEO suppliers as well. Go give them some love. We all need each other. We're all going to get through this together. It's like a plane. We all land at the same time.
And our communities need us. Our communities are really, I mean, we all need each other within the community of the organizers, but our attendees really need us. So
absolutely, yeah. Like I mean, as festivals and events, we're such a strong part of the communities that we serve, but we are that community that helps refill that tank, and that's what we're all in.
And we're going to rebuild these. I really, really love your messaging. I think it was so fantastic. Jay here said your award was well deserved. My networking session today was how are people going to feel in public because they're afraid of people. So I love was your social distancing officer. Is that what it is?
Physical distancing. And
physical
I thought
distancing.
Yeah, somebody said social distancing. I'm like, that does sound a little bit better, but really a stilt walker knows that your physical distance has nothing to do with the strength of your connection. So we may be physically distant, but we're still always socially connected.
Yeah, we don't want to be socially distant.
Exactly. So booking entertainers, that especially roaming acts and things that can help support these things are a really great way to help people reconnect. When I was doing the physical distancing officer in Port Credit over 6 weeks, I watched people literally come out of their shells and their joy return. They were still being safe. They were wearing masks and staying within their own bubbles. But I saw how a regular marketing activation that was a community level event, like a car show spread out, how much it impacted everyone. You literally just watch the joy come back to them. And I know that festivals and events are going to be a huge part of how we all recover from this experience.
We're the recovery plan. Well, honestly, thank you so much, Kyle. It was great. I'm now saying physical distancing. We can't social distance. We need to stay connected because of you. Debbie loves that point as well. Yeah, we're just so grateful to have you. So thank you again for being a part of the FEO Summit, the festival and events community, and a leader and a mental health advocate, because we all really need people like you. So thank you. Everyone give them the woo.
There you go. Thank you so much, everybody, to you too. I saw that juggling. It's awesome. Thanks so much for being here.
And yeah, so a quick reminder that our next scheduled sessions are on tomorrow, Wednesday, from 2 to 5 p.m. With the networking and breakout rooms, which were a lot of fun today. They're for an hour, and the virtual marketplace, like Kyle mentioned. We will be back there, and you can see, Kyle, are you in the marketplace as well?
That's, I'm not sure. I know I was in one of the virtual booths today, but, oh, Debbie's, I think, going now.
Debbie's saying no.
But I'm always around. You can find me.
He's easy to find. I love your social media, by the way. It is fantastic. And of course, our last panel session of the summit is tomorrow. FEO, you guys have done a great job. I'm honored to be a board member and have seen such great feedback. And this is the highlight of my month so far, as being a part of the FEO conference. So sponsorship post-pandemic, government grants and funding are part of the panel tomorrow, and partnering with different sectors. So all very, very important information. We will see you tomorrow. And one more time, thank you, Kyle. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you for all you do. And of course, we have to thank our sponsors because they are so important to us. Ticket Pro, Smart Serve, Event Hub, Ministry of Sport, Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture. I'm sorry for missaying that. OLG, and of course, Destination Ontario. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Kyle. You made us feel so much better.